Peter, if this distresses you, don't. Skip the hard bit. Peter recovered himself and continued, You know, of course, that I had a sort of nervous collapse after the war. I went home to Bredon Hall and cowered in my bedroom and wouldn't come out. Mother was distraught. Then Bunter showed up and got me out of it. He drew the curtains and carried in breakfast and found the flat in Piccadilly and got me down there to set me up as a man about town. Everything tickety-boo. I'm sure Mother will have told you all that long since, even if I haven't. Only, as you know all too well, it wasn't entirely over. I've had relapses. Back then, I couldn't relapse exactly because I hadn't really recovered. I felt like a lot of broken glass in a parcel. Must have been hellish for Bunter. I seem to remember your mother telling me some story about Bunter overcome with emotion because you had sent away the damned eggs and demanded sausages. Rather incredible, really, but I always believe a Dowager Duchess. Expound, Bunter, said Peter. The difficulty about breakfast, milady, was that it entailed giving orders, and his lordship, in a nervous state, associated giving orders with the immediate death of those who obeyed them. The real responsibility for the orders belonged to the generals who made the battle plans, and in the ranks we all knew that very well, but just the same it fell to the young men who were our immediate captains to give us the orders to our faces, and it was they who saw the consequences in blood and guts. All too often they shared the fate of their men. We didn't blame them, but his lordship was among those who blamed themselves. That really must have made him difficult to work for, said Harriet. It was a challenge, certainly, my lady, admitted Bunter, blowing gently on the top of the book in his hand to dislodge a miniature cloud of dust. But by the time I knew him, he had got over it, continued Harriet. I don't remember seeing him having any difficulty in giving you orders in recent years. Bunter replaced the book in the run, turned round, and sat down atop the library steps. But back in 1921 his lordship was very shaky, my lady. We had established a gentle routine for life in town, morning rides in Rotten Row, a few concerts, haunting the book auctions, that sort of thing. And any moment when boredom or anxiety threatened, we went suddenly abroad. Travel is very soothing to a nervous temperament. But his lordship had not resumed the sort of life in society that a man of his rank was expected to lead. He couldn't stand even the rumble of the trains on the Underground Railway, because it evoked the sound of artillery. So we felt it would be better not to attend any shooting parties. I'd been hoping for some time that a suitable house party would occur at which we could, so to speak, try the temperature of the water. What an extraordinary metaphor, Bunter, said Lord Peter. The temperature of the water at a house party is always lukewarm by the time it has been carried upstairs by a hard-pressed servant and left outside the bedroom door in an enamel jug. Begging your pardon, my lord, but I always thought of your hot water myself, and I do not recall any complaints about it at the time. Heavens, Bunter, indeed not. I must be remembering occasions before you entered my service. That vanished world my brother and all seniors talk so fondly about, when wealth and empire were in unchallenged glory, and to save which my generation was sent to die wholesale in the mud of Flanders. I wasn't the only one, he added, to find the peace hard to get used to. That's an odd way of putting it, Peter, said Harriet, contemplating her husband with a thoughtful expression. I can see that horrible flashbacks to the trenches might have undermined you, might have haunted you, but the peace itself— The peace meant coming home, Peter said, finding oneself mixing with those who had stayed at home all along, listening to old gentlemen at the club, who had waved the flag as eagerly as anyone when their own prosperity was in danger, complaining once the danger was past about ex-servicemen who, according to them, thought far too much of themselves and what they had done, reading in the press about unemployment and poverty facing returning soldiers, and employers grumbling about being asked to have a mere 5% of their workforce recruited from ex-servicemen. Harriet said, I remember a visit to London when there was a man on crutches selling matches in the street. My mother gave me a penny and said, Run across and give this to the soldier, Harry, but don't take his matches. I shook my head when he offered me the matches.